Did Ryan Huska really say that Matt Coronato could really score 40 goals this season?
You're Locked On Flames, your daily podcast on the Calgary Flames. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Locked On Flames. As always, I am your host, Jessica Belmosto, and thank you so much for joining me. Today, we're talking winners and losers of the week, Matt Coronato setting the bar for himself, and maybe some of the other young players coming up through the system, and some highlights and lowlights from the second day of training camp. Make sure you're subscribed to Locked On Flames wherever you get your podcasts, as well as YouTube. We are here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, your Calgary Flames, every day. And let's jump into this. And we're going to start off with the lowlights because we just want to get the negativity out of the way, right? Jonathan Huberdeau missed day 2 of training camp due to maintenance. There wasn't really much of an elaboration on that or any more information. So one day in and we are already having maintenance days. I hope he is okay. But I do worry, question mark, about how we're starting the season, considering, all I can think back to is his first season with the Flames and how he was dealing with like a back injury, and that just resulted in some really bad efforts from him. I mean, you can only do so much when you're injured, but hope all is well. And hopefully this is just something like I pulled my hamstring playing with my dog. I don't know. Something silly. That would be nice. And hopefully it's just rest. Rest is a good thing. But with that comes an unexpected promotion to the first line. It's not Adar Suniev. It is not Sam Honzik. It is not Connor Zary, but in fact, Matvei Gridin. Gridin is a player that I said we should keep on our radar. He may be the dark horse of the training camp, just because he has performed very well and he brings an offensive flair to his game that the Flames are desperately needing, as well as, there's always a dark horse, always. And Gridin seems to be that guy this year. I'm hoping that we do get to see Connor Zary up on the top line, because putting him on a line with Backlund and Coleman is fine, but I feel like Coronato and Kadri are more his speed and his style of play. And I also would like to see him at center. I want to see him tried at center. But this is what the lines looked like today and pairings. It was Gridin, Kadri, Coronato, Zary, Backlund, Coleman, Honzik, Kirkland, and Stromgren, and Siona, Morton, and Suniev. That's an interesting third line. I know that these are just training camp lines and you can't read too much into it. But I do find that one interesting. I think it makes sense. But I do, again, I'm going to be selfish and say, I wish Connor Zary was centering, but he's not. And that's unfortunately the way the cookie's crumbling right now. So be it. We are 2 days into this thing. I'm not going to sweat it. And then your defensive pairings, same as yesterday, Joel Hanley with Uyghur, Bean and Parekh, Cechek with Brustowicz. I, once again, will reiterate that I think that Jake Bean and Parekh are going to be rotating in and out. I saw someone mention that, and it made a lot of sense, because we know that the Flames are more likely to put Miramonov on waivers than their former CEO's son on waivers. They can say, oh, it's a business all they want, but we know that that's unlikely to happen unless something really surprises me. I just can't imagine them doing that. And for Parek's sake, I hope that he outplays Bean in every way possible. He has more of an upside than Bean. Let's get the kid some real NHL reps. Okay? Simple as that. Makes the most sense to me. I'm not looking to be make everyone happy, and that's not in the cards. I'm here to run a hockey team, not make friends. There's a split squad scrimmage this weekend, which will be super cool between the Oilers. So once again, you get the Battle of Alberta, and you might see a few familiar faces because it looks like you know, Mangiapane. I still can't believe he's an Oiler. Makes me sick to my stomach. But at the end of the day, the Flames just have to go out there and win. I don't care how it gets done. It's not about how many hits you throw or how many punches or how many penalty minutes. It's about how many goals you score. And at the end of the day, we want this team to score more goals than their opponent, which is such a crazy concept when you think about it, I know. But I want to see Parek out there against an NHL heavy Oilers squad. I don't think you're throwing him to the wolves. I think you're putting him up to what you expect of him. I feel like putting him against a mainly like AHL squad is I don't want to say offensive, but it lowers the standards, I think, but it also would probably make him look better. So I don't know. I feel like it's a double-edged sword, but give me Parek playing against NHLers in a preseason game and on opening night. I'm a simple girl. That's all I want. But coming up next, we are going to talk about Matt Coronato and just what Ryan Huska thinks he can accomplish this season here on Locked On Flames. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Yes, $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because it is super easy to navigate. They have everything I'm looking for all in one place. And I love just building a same game parlay or even jumping in as the live action unfolds. I think that that's one of my favorite parts, especially during football season. And you will never catch me betting the under. I'm an always rooting for the offense type of girl, so I'll hammer the over. And it's quick, it's easy, and it's the best way to add a little more excitement and energy to your Sunday. So, are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first ever $5 bet. Thanks, everyone, for tuning into today's episode of Locked On Flames. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcasts, and you're following me on Twitter at @JustBelmosto. Matt Coronato had himself quite the season last year. You know, his journey to the NHL has been exciting. Turbulent simply because of inconsistency, but last year, a message was sent. And a message was well received. So, after being scratched for the first 3 games of the season, the Flames played him in Edmonton and then sent him down and called him back up after he scored 2 goals in 2 games. And then he stuck with the squad. And I think that's what you need. Sometimes you just need a little jump start, something to light a fire under you. You know you have a message to send. And so the Coronato needed to receive it. So I do worry a little bit. And I know I said we were getting the negativity out of the way early, but I kind of lied. Could he have a sophomore like slump? He's played enough NHL games now where I think, he's technically not a sophomore, but it's his second full NHL season. I do worry a little bit. I'm not as worried as I was with, say, Pospisil and Zary, like last summer, about the sophomore slump, but it's always going to be on my mind. But rest assured, Ryan Huska is here to put our little minds at ease. I do think Matt will be anywhere from a 25 to 40 goal guy. And he said that Coronato is the Flames' best pure goal scorer. Because of his skill set, the way that he thinks the game, and ability he has to shoot the puck, he's going to find himself in those opportunities. I do feel he's going to be a consistent scorer for us. The theme in Calgary through 2 days of training camp continues to revolve around finding ways for the exact same group to come up with ways to be even better than their 96-point season. Pausing for a second, but the fact that the Flames have had 90-point seasons 2 out of the 3 years that they've missed the playoffs is bananas to me, because how do you miss the playoffs? But all it takes is one loss, and that throws you wayside. But continuing through this article by Eric Francis on Sportsnet, counting on youngsters like Coronato, Connor Zary, Adam Klapka, and Martin Pospisil to collectively up their offense will be keys to the Flames adding pop to the league's 4th lowest scoring team. But no one is being looked at more than Coronato to up their game. For proof, Coronato opened camp on the top line with Jonathan Huberdeau and Nazem Kadri, with whom he very well played alongside for years. Or who he may very well play. Okay. Basically saying he's going to be stuck on his side for a while. Okay. I thought he's saying he had been playing with him for a long time, and I was like, are we watching the same team? But anyways, if the trio can continue to build some chemistry that led to his success last spring, Coronato might be one of those roster pickups that Poolies boast about for years. I'm not really into numbers, he shrugged. Matt Coronato shrugged. I just want to keep getting better, and I want to win. That's what I like to hear. Because I feel like if you are more focused on what milestone you're going to hit, what record you're going to break, you're going to get so far into your own head that it doesn't happen. And you become, like, you're already your own worst critic, but then you're truly getting it in your own way when you start only thinking about that, or not even only thinking about that, but putting that in your brain. If you have a 30-goal season, you have a 30-goal season. And I feel like that's kind of what happened potentially to Jonathan Huberdeau last season and why he didn't hit 30. He scored 28. Could have happened. It very well could have happened. Last year, his first full NHL season, he scored 24 times. He then signed his contract. Now the trick is to earn it. Consistency is key to pushing 40 goals in this league, a mark no Flame has hit since Johnny Gaudreau, Matthew Tkachuk, and Elias Lindholm all did it 4 years ago. 4 years ago. Wow. Yeah, I'm still at the restaurant. I'm still at Game 5 against the Oilers. That game has not ended. I'm still there. I'm not going anywhere. I'm stuck. Brutal. And while the expectations have been high surrounding Coronato since he was selected 13th overall in 2021, it was his improved play away from the puck last season that made him someone the coaches could trust to put in the lineup nightly. Yeah, and I think that's a big thing too, is he didn't just produce offensively. He wasn't afraid to get down in the corners. He was a more physical player. He worked his skating came miles from 2 seasons ago to last season. And I'm impressed. If the kid's going to put in work, if he says he's going to put in the work, he's going to put in the work. And I'm impressed because a lot of time with these college kids, you see them kind of hit a wall in December, January, because that's where their season typically ends. But no, not for Matthew. This year, he hopes to elevate it by being the go-to guy the team so desperately needs. His development has come in not having to defer to the better players he's on the ice with, said Huska, who might even build his power play around Coronato, whose deadly release has been evident since junior. Please, 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 please. I have been saying that since they drafted this kid. I need to see him on the power play consistently. I want him as your power play one guy. Please. I do not ask for much. Again, I'm a simple girl. Give me all the Matt Coronato you can get. I think he's confident in who he is now, knowing he's a real good player on our team, and he doesn't have to defer to some of the guys he may look up to. Plenty of Coronato's confidence came late in a late season trip through his native New York, where he scored in all 3 games in front of family and friends. It propelled him to a strong finish that helped pace the team that fought to the end with an 11-2-3 record. There were a lot of moments for me that kind of built into it. I think that whole stretch the last month and a half of the year when we were fighting for that spot was just so much fun. And I think it gave a lot of us confidence in what this group can do. As much as it sucked we didn't get in, I think it kind of left some excitement on the table that we can be in this position again and we can push just a little bit harder and get where we want to be. I have a heck of a lot of respect for Matt Coronato. Again, just any undersized player, he's 5'10", 183 pounds, to come in, especially as an American, and do what he did, and then sign a long-term deal, makes me feel so confident in this group. The Flames, Dustin Wolf and Matt Coronato both broke they ended the narrative of Americans not wanting to sign in Calgary last season. I don't care what, or I guess this offseason. I don't care what anyone says. They did it. And I think that Calgary is becoming a more desirable destination, which we can talk about in a little bit. But all the props to Matt Coronato for really taking advantage of the opportunities that he's earned and will hopefully be given this season. You can roll back the tapes. Matt Coronato on the Flames power play will feed children for years to come. I'm convinced. But coming up next, we're going to wrap up the show with winners and losers of the week because it is that time. It is Friday. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into today's episode of Locked On Flames. Make sure you're following me on Twitter at Belmosto. So, winners and losers of the week is a segment that I like to do when I feel like there's been enough ups and downs in a sports week to kind of call it a win or a loss. My first winner of the week is Michael Backlund. He gets his wish of playing in the new building. He just signed that 2-year extension, which his final season will be the first season in Scotia Place. And I think that that's that's got to be, you know, a little special. And I think, I hate saying like, oh, it's a farewell tour, but that very well could be his send-off. We can't predict what he's going to do. He could be like Chara and play till he's like 86. I don't know. But it's great to see the captains here for another 2 years, or I guess 3 seasons, since his deal was expiring the end of this season. But this does kind of bum me out, though. I'm not gonna lie, because I think Mackenzie Weegar deserves to be captain tomorrow. He is the heartbeat of this team. He answers when he's called upon. He's clearly a mentor for these guys, and I can't wait to see what he does to help Zane Parekh get settled in here. Another winner, I guess 2 winners, are Clayton Kershaw and Anze Kopitar. Both are retiring at the end of their respective seasons. It feels like the end of an era. I'm not gonna lie. When you start seeing like Sidney Crosby graying, or kids born in 2007 being selected in the draft, like that sets, like, you're like, oh boy, I guess I am getting up there. But then you see players retire and it's like, oh, right, this is all going to come to an end someday. But congrats to both of them on heck of a career. I hope that they both have one heck of a season, but I hope the Kings don't have too much fun, because that wouldn't be fun for the Flames. But yeah, losers of the week. I hate to say this, but guys, it's us. It's Flames fans. We are deprived of social content from the Flames. I'm not asking for you to pander to an audience that watches The Summer I Turned Pretty or anything like that, but just consistent Instagram stories, some fun tweets with some pictures. Like today they posted media day on film and with pictures of the a bunch of the guys. I'm like, that's fun. Give us like a day in the life, or you do a mini mic question answer thing, like the whiteboard questions. It just stinks because this group constantly talks about how close they are. So let's see it. I think last season they did like, who would your emergency contact on the team be? And I think everyone said Michael Backlund. And then I think Backlund was like, not Rasmus Anderson, because he's never going to answer his phone. Real. That's me. I don't answer my phone. But I think my point is we don't see enough. There's a lot left to be desired, and it stinks because that social team, every social team works so hard, and sometimes it's just not in their control. It comes from above. But where's the Frostbee content? Where is that? Where are my baby Flames? What's like the biggest challenge that these young kids have faced since living on their own? Like, what's the hardest part of living on your own? Oh, folding my own laundry. I don't know. It's like, there's ideas. Flames, if you want to hire me, that'd be great. However, I do need a visa. But that'll do it for me here on today's episode of Locked On Flames. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me today. If you have listened to this show once or a million times, I appreciate you. There's a lot going on behind the scenes that I'm hoping that we can get some more social content from me on my part. But I just want to say thank you. I appreciate you all so much, and I'm really looking forward to this season for the team, for us here, and maybe a playoff run. Who knows?